Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I sound more like Johnny Bravo. Oh, mama. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Elvis is in theaters this weekend, and today we are going to talk about it. This is a movie that I was excited for, but is it good? From his childhood in Mississippi to his rise to stardom starting in Memphis, Tennessee, and his conquering of Las Vegas, Nevada, Elvis Presley becomes the first rock and roll star and changes the world with his music. This movie is rated PG-13 for substance abuse, strong language, suggestive material, and smoking. Honestly, nothing too bad, but I do like that PG-13 rating for this film, and it's one that stars the likes of Tom Hanks and Austin Butler, directed by Baz Luhrmann. And this is a director with a very set of stylistic sensibilities that are so prominent all throughout his filmography, so I kind of expected it going in, but this film takes that to a whole nother level. In the opening scene, there are crazy sporadic camera movements. You get this voiceover from Hank's character, and Hank's playing Colonel Tom Parker is made out to be the villain of this story. At times, it almost seems like a maniacal, slightly cartoonish villain, but we start out, as opposed to with Elvis, with his character, and I'm like, all right, not entirely sure I'm going to enjoy this movie if it stays on this path. Fortunately, Austin Butler as Elvis not only steals the show, but gives one of the best performances of the year. Before I go any further with deeper criticisms, I do want to give you my immediate reaction with my wife, who really wanted to talk about this film because she was so excited. Check this out.
What is up, Flick fans?
That's what I say. This is my wife, Madison. We're in Nashville, Tennessee, just got out of the movie, and we have some fresh thoughts that I thought we needed to talk about right now. So this is the portion of the video where you get our immediate reaction. Madison, my wife, what do you think?
I went into this not knowing if it was going to be a very accurate depiction of Elvis's life. Right. Where are they going to begin? Where are they going to end? How fast are we going to go through his life? Because he had a crazy career.
Yes.
So I think personally I was a little iffy on how they touched on certain things and certain things they didn't, but Austin Butler stole the show.
Yeah. Not
just his accent or his looks, but his mannerisms as he's talking, his facial expressions. I believed it 100%. Like, I was blown away.
I thought Tom Hanks, the idea of giving his character a little bit of a backstory alongside Elvis, that didn't bother me.
Really?
It's starting, what bothered me throughout the movie was starting the movie with him.
Yes, I agree.
And giving him this villainous, like, ha ha ha, in the shadows type thing that made it feel, I guess, more blockbustery than it needed to, and took it away from being a biopic, right? When we get the moments that are focused on Elvis, it felt, so natural, and those were the moments that you feel emotionally attached to our characters. But when we shift back and we get those crossfades of Hank's character in the shadows, and it was a little overboard for me.
No, I completely agree with that. It just was so odd that the focus was so shifted to Tom Hanks' character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can get on board with a stylistic biopic for sure. I mean, I loved Elton John's.
Yeah, well, Rocket Man.
Rocket Man was a stylistic.
Sure.
You said it's almost not a biopic, but I still call it that.
It was a musical, but it was a biopic.
But I mean, like, that one on board for. This one, it's like it tried to be that, but it didn't, and it kept falling, teeter-totting on very accurate to very what's going on. What about the music?
By far the best part of this movie. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
I loved the spins they put on some of the music. You'd hear like different people singing his songs, and some of them he didn't even write, probably most of them, honestly. But
and they hit on that in the movie. They go back to the roots of, like, going into these neighborhoods and hearing songs and then replicating those songs. It's not a biopic that plays it safe in that way.
Yes,
and and his relationship with Priscilla, I appreciate the fact that they hit on some of those things that may have been a little uncomfortable at times.
And they really hit on all the segregation that was happening at the time and how he was breaking boundaries that way. And
I love that.
And he didn't see color because that's how he grew up, was so poor. And just to see throughout the movie how he really stayed true to himself, I think they did a really good job with displaying that.
for me, it's the moments that they focused on that, right? The heart and soul of Elvis Presley and allowing Butler's performance to shine. And that was another criticism I had with the film, is not giving him more moments like that, because everything was a montage. Almost everything.
It really
we
was.
get little tiny moments of he and his family members, the arguments with his mom, they were supposed to mean so much, but they cut to those and then they cut away. They cut to him and cut away, and I'm like, give this man his Oscar moment, because he can't get a nomination if the movie keeps cutting away. And all of this, being said, it's not that we thought that was so much to take us out of these incredible moments, because when we get the moments, especially towards the end, we get to stay on some of those, finally staying on some of those performances in Vegas that are just spectacular. The movements, the way he shakes his body, I want to know what was him and what was the voice. I want to know exactly what was what, but just from what I saw,
it was seamless.
If this man would have had a couple more minutes to shine with some of these monologues, I do think there would be an Oscar nomination here. I just think with the film, I don't know.
Not that he doesn't deserve one, because holy moly,
he's amazing.
He's what kept me in the movie.
He's amazing.
Despite everything that we've said, he kept me in the movie.
Yeah.
I had, every time he was singing, performing, I had the biggest, cheesiest, I probably looked like a psycho, smile on my face, because it just was so exciting when he was performing and doing all that.
And just his dialogue with anyone he interacted with, the voice was so spot on.
Can you talk like that for now on?
Oh, thank you very much. Absolutely not. And it's not that I hated Tom Hanks's performance. He was good in the film. The accent may have been a little bit much, but again, they were trying to be historically accurate. It's just the role that his character had in the movie played it in more of a cartoonish way, rather than a really dramatic and impactful way. And that's what I wanted from his character. And putting him in more of a minor role, I believe, would have helped the film, whereas we kind of got the opposite, and they didn't truly focus on Elvis until the end of the movie. And that was the best part of the movie, is the lights turn on behind us. Madison, final thoughts before we go back to me in a chair.
I would probably see this movie again. That's the telltale sign.
This is her thing, man. This is her thing.
Will I see it again? Yeah. Will I suggest it to people? Yeah. Purely for Austin Butler, because that was amazing. If you're an Elvis fan, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, and we were in Nashville, right? So a lot of Elvis fans in the building, and there was a big round of applause at the end of the movie. So clearly they got some, and apparently a descendant of Elvis was in the building. That's what I heard while I was in the bathroom listening into someone's conversation. All right, these were our first thoughts. Really, it was a full review. Austin, back to me.
Thanks, me with a full beard. As you can tell, this movie has its ups and downs. I believe overly stylistic at times, maybe too much so, especially with some of those camera angles and the zoom in and out shots in Las Vegas. And Hanks being somewhat the focus kind of took me out of the movie. But I was always pulled back in Austin Butler, and really the people surrounding Butler, the managers, the family, everybody played it so well. And when the focus is on Elvis and his struggles and wanting to break free of these shackles and just do what he loves, being rid of these constraints, whether that be by Hank's character, the government, whatever it may be, that was told so well. I mean, we're telling 40 years of story here. That's a lot to fit into one film, and you feel that. But when he's on stage performing his songs, the moments where he's shaking his body, and that's when the editing worked well for me. The style and the substance came together beautifully and seamlessly in those moments. My biggest flaw that I haven't mentioned just yet has to be the modern music played in the film. That took me out of every single scene it was used in. It was only used 2 or 3 times, but it's a movie about Elvis. At least play music from that era. Don't bring in a modern pop song. I thought that was a terrible decision, but really the only terrible decision all throughout the film. Before I give you my score, let me know, are you watching Elvis down below? Are you a fan of Elvis and his music? And is Austin Butler worthy of an Oscar nomination? In my opinion, at this point in time, I say yes. Elvis may be a bit too frantic and stylistic for its own good, but the movie is ridiculously entertaining. Most of the highs are due to a legendary performance from Austin Butler. He is on another level here, and every frame is elevated when he is on screen. I'm going to 72% with my score. Again, I enjoyed the film, but I enjoyed the performance way more, and in that way, like my wife said, that will make it a rewatchable movie for most, especially if you're a fan of this music. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. See you soon.